Hello and welcome to Pharma MOOC once again. My name is Nuala Calnan and today I'm very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Yukio Hiyama, who is a visiting scientist with the NIHS in Japan, the National Institute of Health Sciences in Japan. Dr. Yukio Hiyama, you're very welcome to be here with us today, and
Thank you very much.
We're very excited about hearing your insights. Perhaps you can start by explaining your involvement on behalf of the Japanese regulators in the ICH Q8, 9 and 10 expert working group since 2003.
Yeah, I started involved ICH discussion 2003, starting with the Q8 and Q9, and from 2005, I believe I have been involved Q8, Q10 expert working group. Then starting 2008, ICH quality implementation working group. So I've been heavily involved ICH discussion from Japan side.
Mm-hmm. And in that time, particularly, we saw the outputs that came from those groups. Obviously, we've seen the Q8, 9 and 10 guidance documents. We've seen the points to consider document more recently that you were involved in. And one of the key documents that you had an input to was the Sakura tableting case study that the Japanese shared with the ICH and became part of the training materials. And perhaps you could give us a little bit of background around that and what was the aim in producing that case study.
Okay, thank you for the question. The Sakura tablet case study was written to provide the guidance to the industry according to Japanese regulation expectation, which is quality overall summary, which is module 2 of CTD document, also approval letter system. They are somewhat Japan specific requirements. Now we need to have the case study because ICH Q8 guideline came out. Also the law change happened in 2005 pharmaceutical affair law change.
Okay, and that's very good. So in terms of the specific unique element that was included in that Sakura tablet case study was the example of the approval letter, which is unique to the Japanese regulations. Yes. And that the changes with the approval letter came about as a result of the PAL changes in 2005 to include the manufacturing descriptions. Right. Perhaps you could bring us through what the Japanese regulators were trying to get to there in expanding the definitions in the approval letter.
Okay, the 2005 pharmaceutical affair law change is actually driven by the major change. The system has changed from manufacturing approval to marketing authorization approval. So that with that, the approval letter system must have manufacturing description as a commitment from industry. Then that's the one part of change. Also, because of the new law change, GMP became requirement for approval. So then, having the major change of PAL, there is also like a new regulation called Good Quality Practices, which requires marketing authorization holder to supervise all of the manufacturing site. So that's the major changes. Now, in the approval letter, the sponsor needs to put in all high-level manufacturing information, manufacturing steps into two categories, pre-approval part, also notification part. So then with that, we need to have like a good actually case study to explain those regulations. So that's why we produce Sakura tablet case study, also like approval letter mock document.
And when you speak about the definition there, is it aligned with the expectations around quality by design that have been described in Q8, such as descriptions involving critical quality attributes, critical process parameters, and is there an expectation that they're defined then in the approval letter?
Yes, the approval system development occurred during a discussion along with ICH security by design discussion. So the one concept, this is very important, the concept out of Q8, that is regulatory action depends on how well industry gave information in the dossier. So then the approval letter system encourages the industry to propose which part should be in approval letter and which part is the pre-approval versus notification based upon their knowledge. So then, which is very much in line with the ICH discussion.
And is it the case that the justification behind that would be found in the supporting CTD sections in the dossier, that all of that information around the justification of what should be in the approval letter and what should not will be found supporting the supporting documentation in the CTD?
Yes, that is correct. This is Sakura case study is written for CTD module 2, which is quality overall summary, also approval letter. So then it's the those actually entire like a policy or the system development is again in line with ICH quality by design discussion.
Okay, very good. And just one further question in regard to that. For new applications that are coming through nowadays with the approval letters, is it, from your experience and from talking to your colleagues in PMDA and who are involved in and on the assessment side, are there more new quality by design or enhanced development drugs coming through, or is there still a lot of drugs that are coming through that have had the traditional development model there?
I think I would say starting sometime 2006, 2007, the most of the new drug application is based on quality by design concept. The new drug application, majority of new drug application actually come from outside of Japan. And then they are mostly by the sort of mega pharma industry. So then most of the new application is based upon quality by design concept.
Okay, and the enhanced concept. Okay. So then in terms of bringing us forward then, the what has been the impact of the overall life cycle approach, the changes that we've seen coming about in the industry with the expectation of the life cycle approach that has been very clearly documented through the ICH guidance. What has been that impact on the actual GMPs and the revision to the GMPs within the Japanese region?
Because of this life cycle approach described by ICH guidelines, also the new regulation which was published 2005, good quality practices, which is the marketing authorization holders' responsibility to supervise all of our GMP manufacturing sites. So then also there is some pressure from international side, including PICS application, Japan's PICS application to Japan's PICS application. So the Japan quite recently, last August, published new GMP the standards, which actually include 6 major points. They are, well, I can say maybe several of those inclusion of risk management, product quality review, and validation standards revision. So then that actually had those like life cycle approach had a significant impact on Japan's GMP regulations.
And just in corollary to that question then, what do you think has been the impact on the industry in Japan in terms of the changes in the GMPs brought about as a result of the life cycle approaches?
Yeah, I think from assessment side, the dossier, new applications quality went up drastically after issuance of Q8 and Q9, Q10 guidance document. Now, the new actually GMP regulations published only 4 months ago, so then it's really up to us to look at the industry performance. But there have been a lot of discussion among the industry, so then I'm very optimistic to see improvement.
Okay, well that's excellent to hear. And in closing remarks then, because one of the points you made there is about your engagement at the PICS level and with the other regulators, obviously through the ICH forums and that, what has been your experience since 2003 over the past 10 years on this issue of harmonisation? How do you think that is progressing?
The Japan started pouring GMP inspection starting 2005, which is quite new. So then the industry people may have seen more inspection from Japan because that's a new requirement to Japanese government. Then they decided to implement risk-based site selection model. So then also like decided to take information from reliable information from foreign authorities. So then one of the things they did is they decided to include inspection information to European Udra GMP. That's one thing. Also, they have shifted the focus on the sites in Europe and the US. They consider the US and the European countries are less risky manufacturing sites. So I am very optimistic to see more of a harmonization effort in the future.
Okay, well that's excellent. Dr. Hiyama, thank you so much for joining us here at PharmaMOOC today, and I would like to invite you to watch all 3 of our current Reg Talks on PharmaMOOC, and please come back and join us in our next series of Reg Talks. Goodbye.